In a move that sent shockwaves through the corridors of power and across the globe, the royal family has just delivered an announcement of seismic proportions. This is not the carefully manicured, PR-vetted communication we have come to expect. There are no veiled statements, no layers of protocol to decipher. What has just unfolded is raw, immediate, and possesses the potential to irrevocably alter the course of the British monarchy. What did the Prince and Princess of Wales articulate that is now shaking the very foundations of the palace? Stay with us, because we are dissecting every unprecedented detail of this historic moment, right here and right now. Dear viewers, before continuing this video, we kindly ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to receive notifications about new video releases, please hit the bell icon. Thank you for your understanding. It all began with an electrifyingly simple, almost clinical message dispatched from the digital channels of Buckingham Palace. A formal announcement from the royal family, it stated, would be forthcoming at precisely 6 o'clock in the evening. There was no preceding context, no strategic leaks to favored journalists, no advanced briefings to the press corps. And with those few words, a collective breath was held across the nation and around the world. Speculation ignited like wildfire. Was King Charles preparing to abdicate? Was Queen Camilla facing a health crisis? Had another royal scandal erupted, one too large to contain? The global media machine scrambled frantically for any shred of information. Reporters established vigils outside the palace gates, their cameras trained on the unmoving facade. News anchors filled hours of airtime with educated guesswork and historical comparisons. Devoted royal watchers began a forensic analysis of every public appearance from the preceding weeks, dissecting every wave, every nod, every seemingly insignificant gesture for a hidden clue. Yet, despite the feverish speculation, no one could have possibly predicted what was about to transpire. At 6 o'clock on the dot, the official social media platforms of the royal family flickered to life. But the figures who appeared on screen were not King Charles or Queen Camilla. It was William and Kate, the Prince and Princess of Wales. The setting was stripped of all regal artifice. There were no liveried butlers, no gilded furniture, no opulent tapestries. They stood side by side in a modestly appointed, softly lit room within the private confines of Kensington Palace. Their demeanor was composed, their expressions serious, but most strikingly, they appeared utterly authentic. There was no teleprompter, no stilted formality. This was simply two of the most senior members of the royal family, speaking directly and unfiltered to the public. William's voice was steady, yet imbued with a profound seriousness. "The monarchy isn't just a symbol, it's a responsibility," he began. He explained that in an era of unprecedented change, the royal family has an obligation to ask itself a fundamental question. Are they still effectively serving the people, or are they merely serving the weight of tradition? Then Kate, as poised and elegant as ever, spoke with a steely resolve in her voice that is rarely heard. "It's not about titles or tradition. It's about trust," she declared. With that, she articulated a vision for a future monarchy, one that courageously reflects the realities of the world we inhabit today. The message itself was brief, but its impact was tectonic. William and Kate announced their intention to step into a significantly larger, more autonomous role within the royal structure, a role to be constructed on the pillars of transparency, modern values, and profound public engagement. But the most momentous revelation was yet to come. They unveiled the Diana Initiative, a new global foundation conceived to perpetuate the deeply held ideals of the late Princess Diana, with Kate herself positioned as its principal figurehead and visionary leader. This was not just another royal charity. It was an audacious declaration of purpose and a clear, unambiguous signal of a monumental shift in the power dynamics within the monarchy. King Charles remains king. Camilla remains queen. But in the wake of that powerful video, it was universally understood that the institution's center of gravity had irrevocably shifted, and the public felt it in their bones. This was not a mere announcement. It was the beginning of a quiet revolution. For centuries, royal proclamations have adhered to an unwavering formula: grandiose language, rigid delivery, and an unyielding deference to tradition at every turn. But William and Kate shattered that mold. They did not simply convey a message, they took a definitive stand, and the change they proposed was not incremental. What they articulated was a radical reimagining of royal leadership for the 21st century. At the heart of their vision was a framework the press would swiftly label the modern monarchy blueprint, a new strategy built on 3 core tenets, all designed to render the crown more relevant and accessible. The overarching goal was to pivot the institution's focus from hierarchy to humanity. William initiated the address by candidly acknowledging the widening chasm between the royals and the daily lives of ordinary people. Tradition cannot come at the cost of relevance, he asserted. He announced that from that moment forward, he and Kate would be withdrawing from a significant number of their formal ceremonial duties, choosing instead to channel their energies into tangible, lasting community work. This meant a deliberate reduction in superficial photo opportunities in favor of direct, hands-on action in their key areas of focus: climate change, mental health, maternal care, and education. This declaration marked a historic precedent, senior royals willingly diminishing their own ceremonial status in order to forge a closer, more meaningful connection with the public. And yet, the most potent moment was delivered by Kate. She captured headlines with the launch of the Diana Initiative, a global nonprofit foundation dedicated to carrying forward Princess Diana's legacy of compassion, fearless activism, and unwavering commitment to truth. Speaking with palpable emotion, Kate articulated that Diana's story did not conclude with her tragic passing. "It lives on," she explained, "in every person who believes that kindness is strength, who stands up for what's right, and who chooses to care in a world that often rewards being cold." But Kate's commitment went beyond the launch. She made it unequivocally clear that she would personally spearhead the initiative, dedicating her time to meeting with survivors of abuse, advocating for the rights of displaced families, and working to ensure that Diana's voice is not just a historical footnote, but a central, guiding principle in the royal family's legacy once more. This portion of the speech sent ripples of unease through certain royal circles, because this was not merely about honoring the past. It was about reclaiming a legacy that had, for many years, been deliberately relegated to the shadows. William then returned to the spotlight to emphasize another equally revolutionary principle: transparency. He declared that, henceforth, every aspect of his and Kate's public roles, their charitable endeavors, their operational budgets, and their official engagements, would be made fully and openly available to the public. This institution has long hidden behind tradition and secrecy, William stated firmly, but we believe trust is built in the light. They committed to publishing comprehensive annual reports, permitting independent audits of their charity work, and establishing an entirely new standard for royal accountability. In a monarchy renowned for its meticulously guarded privacy, this was an unprecedented move. And that was precisely the point. Within minutes, social media erupted. Commentators across the globe hailed it as the first truly modern royal action of the 21st century. News organizations from London to Los Angeles seized upon the story, but perhaps the most telling reaction was from those who remained silent. There was no immediate comment from King Charles or Queen Camilla, no congratulatory tweet, no hastily arranged family photograph, nothing on the official palace channels. The silence was deafening, and it strongly suggested that this audacious move had been made without full royal consent, and perhaps even in defiance of it. In under 10 minutes, William and Kate had altered the entire landscape. They had demonstrated that being royal need not be synonymous with being distant or anachronistic. They presented a new vision, one that is modern, open, and profoundly human. They hadn't just made an announcement, they had quietly rewritten the future of the monarchy without asking for permission. While the public erupted in applause and social media overflowed with praise for this bold, emotional rebranding of royalty, the atmosphere behind palace walls was starkly different. Sources report that as soon as the live stream concluded, a tense, palpable chill descended upon the royal residences. The issue was not that the Diana initiative was wrong or controversial. It was impeccably conceived, polished, and clearly well prepared. The problem was the manner of its launch. Without the full, explicit approval of King Charles and his inner circle. In the rigid lexicon of royal protocol, that is not merely bold. It is an act bordering on rebellion. According to one palace insider, King Charles watched the video from his study at Clarence House, and, upon its conclusion, turned quietly to an aide and uttered 3 words. What did they do? He was not confused. He was staggered. His son and daughter-in-law had just seized a more powerful public role, openly and confidently, without his endorsement. It was precisely the kind of emotionally resonant, people-centric gesture that Charles had meticulously avoided throughout his own carefully managed reign. To him, it was a flagrant deviation from the script. To William and Kate, it was the future. For Queen Camilla, however, the announcement felt deeply personal. Sources close to the palace indicate that Camilla perceived Kate's speech, particularly her profound embrace of Diana's legacy, as a deliberately pointed message. Over the course of many years, Camilla had invested immense effort in rehabilitating her public image, painstakingly transforming her persona from the other woman to Queen Consort. And yet, in less than 10 minutes, Kate had single-handedly reignited the public's intense emotional connection to Diana and inextricably linked it to the future of the crown. Camilla was reportedly incandescent with fury. One aide was said to have overheard her remark, "She's trying to make Diana queen from beyond the grave." In the immediate aftermath, a series of emergency meetings were convened behind closed doors. The prevailing tone within the palace was not celebratory. It was cautious, bordering on shaken. For the first time in decades, the crown was being actively reshaped, not by the will of the monarch on the throne, but by 2 royals who were willing to risk the sanctity of tradition in order to win the currency of public trust. After William and Kate's audacious announcement, senior palace advisors, communications chiefs, and veteran courtiers scrambled to formulate a response. They quickly encountered a significant obstacle. There was no viable way to critique what William and Kate had done without appearing jealous, out of touch, or defensively territorial. The public's adoration was overwhelming. Any attempt by the palace to correct or diminish the announcement would risk a severe public backlash. Consequently, the palace made a surprising yet strategic choice. They remained silent. But this silence did not signify peace. King Charles's frustration was palpable to those in his close circle. Insiders conveyed that Charles interpreted the announcement as a premature and unwelcome transfer of power, one that he feared would overshadow his own long-awaited legacy. Nevertheless, he understood that a direct confrontation with William would make him look petty and insecure before a nation that had just overwhelmingly embraced his son. Behind the scenes, the internal dynamics of the royal family began to shift. Staff members whispered about a new center of power consolidating around Kensington Palace. Some of the older aides fretted that Kate was becoming too independent, while others quietly celebrated this change, sensing a new form of leadership that was genuinely attuned to the public mood. Throughout it all, William and Kate remained steadfast. They were not engaging in palace intrigue or maneuvering for the throne. They were simply doing what the monarchy had so long avoided, serving with a radical honesty and openness. Their actions had caused not just outrage, but a deep-seated unease within the palace. For the first time in a very long time, the crown itself was not the primary focus. Kate was, and she was not just symbolically wearing a crown, she was embodying it. Something in the very atmosphere seemed to shift after the announcement, something that went beyond headlines and trending hashtags. It was a change in the public's perception of Kate Middleton. She was no longer simply the Duchess of Cambridge or the poised, elegant wife of the heir. She had transformed into something more, a queen in every aspect, but the official title. Across the United Kingdom, people began to refer to her as the People's Queen, a title once exclusively reserved for Princess Diana. This was not merely a flattering nickname. It was a reflection of a genuine cultural movement. Kate was no longer standing beside the throne. She was now perceived as moving ahead of it. Her first solo appearance following the announcement was deliberately low-key, but intensely powerful. Instead of a royal gala or a palace event, she visited a mental health clinic in Manchester for teenage girls recovering from trauma. There were no press cameras or formal speeches, just Kate listening intently, asking thoughtful questions, and, as one young visitor remarked, not talking down to anyone. "She looked us in the eye," one girl said. "Not like a royal, like a friend." Later, Kate made an unexpected, unannounced visit to a women's shelter in Birmingham. The photographs taken by staff members and shared online showed her comforting a woman whose home had been destroyed by domestic violence. There was no royal protocol, just genuine, unscripted kindness and presence. Every action she took sent a clear message, not to the tabloids or the royal critics, but to the public at large. I see you. I hear you. I am not above you. Meanwhile, the Diana Initiative began to roll out its first programs. Kate established a foundation to offer free counseling services to young people grappling with grief, a program inspired by the profound loss experienced by William and Harry. She announced plans for a global conference on women's health rights, a topic no senior royal had ever championed so publicly before. But perhaps Kate's most impactful moment came during a televised town hall in Cardiff. Speaking without a script or handlers, she addressed the future of the monarchy with heartfelt clarity. "We are not here to rule from above," she stated. "We're here to walk alongside. And if we forget that, we are unworthy of the people's trust." A hush fell over the room. With those words, Kate achieved what no public relations campaign, no coronation, no years of careful image management had accomplished for Camilla or Charles. She had restored humanity to the monarchy. The press adored her. The public adored her. Kate Middleton's approval rating soared to the highest levels ever recorded in modern royal polling, even eclipsing Princess Diana's peak popularity in the early 1990s. But inside the palace, the atmosphere remained tense. Queen Camilla was reportedly deeply unsettled by how swiftly the public's focus had shifted. King Charles III felt increasingly marginalized, not because of any overt disrespect, but because he was becoming a secondary figure in his own reign. The spotlight had moved, and no matter how much the palace tried to project an image of continuity, the truth was undeniable. The people had already chosen their queen. She did not wear the physical crown or sit on the throne. Kate had done something far more powerful than simply being a royal figure. She had earned the kind of profound affection that Diana once commanded. But unlike Diana, Kate was wielding that affection with a clear, strategic purpose, not for personal power, but for public service. While the Prince and Princess of Wales chart this new, independent course, Their public service is built upon a solid foundation of existing charitable work that has long reflected a more modern, empathetic approach to royal responsibility. Their flagship campaign, Heads Together, launched in collaboration with Prince Harry, has been instrumental in challenging the stigma surrounding mental health and promoting open dialogue about emotional well-being. This is a cause that resonates deeply with the couple, who have both spoken with candor about its importance. Kate, in particular, has demonstrated a passionate commitment to causes that affect children and families. Her work in early childhood development underscores a forward-thinking strategy, based on the understanding that the earliest years of life are critical for future success and happiness. Environmental concerns also feature prominently on their agenda. Both William and Kate are vocal advocates for conservation and climate action, supporting innovative projects aimed at protecting endangered species and promoting sustainable living, thereby aligning the monarchy with the global effort to address one of humanity's greatest challenges. While their public work captures the headlines, their private life offers a glimpse of a grounded, relatable family. Their primary residence remains Apartment 1A at Kensington Palace, a historic royal home that has been updated to suit the needs of a modern family. Away from the pressures of London, the family retreats to Anmer Hall, a Georgian country house in Norfolk, which provides a sanctuary of privacy where their 3 children can grow up away from the constant glare of the media. It is this skillful blending of royal tradition with genuine human connection that sets William and Kate apart, reflecting a monarchy that is evolving with the times, one that listens, supports, and leads by example. As this video wraps up, we'd like to remind you to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is vital for our channel's growth and helps us keep creating content. To be notified about new videos, remember to hit that bell icon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.